All right, so for today we're going to be playing from Bandon Dunes on the white tees. We're going to see how this goes from the white tees. They're actually pretty short. Won't even need to really use the driver all that much. So for the setup that I've got going on right here, I've got a Mevo Plus that is doing all of the ball flight capture. I have a TV right here which is reflecting what's on my laptop that's running the whole thing. And so we should be seeing basically what's going on in real time as I'm playing. So wish me luck. All right, so what we've got here is a par 4 dogleg right. We've got about 171 yards to the turn. I think what I'm going to do is change my aim ever so slightly up over here. And let's start off with a 6-iron. No sense in changing it in the software. That should go. It's actually been a little bit of an issue lately. A lot of my shots been just a hair behind the ball. All right, right in the middle of the fairway, good way to start. So we're 129 out. Pin's about 17, the green's about 17 feet above my feet. So 48-degree wedge, looks like a forward pin placement, so long as the miss. Oh, that's got to get there. Pretty darn close, but just pulled it a little so slight. All right, let's see how well my chipping does. So I have this set up to do my putting for me automatically. So as long as I can get this usually within 10 feet, ball right here, if I get it within 10 feet, usually it'll one putt me. Let's see if we can't actually make it. So it's 22 feet. Now I've got 10 feet, actually about 11 feet between here and the screen. So let's see if we can land it just about at the base of the screen. High, but not bad. So that should be good for a par on the first hole. Good way to start. All right, par, way to start. All right, second hole, par 3, 157 yards to the pin. Now, while you might see wind up there on the screen, I've noticed that as far as E6 goes, wind doesn't really seem to affect the ball flight much, so I tend to just kind of ignore it. In this case, for this shot, I'm hitting about a 9-iron, since the green's kind of the pin's kind of in the middle. So if I'm a little short, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be pushed a bit right. Introduced a little bit of hosel to that shot. Something that just reared its ugly head today. But should be able to get her fairly close for this shot. I got a 60-degree. So we have 46 yards. And that is not nearly going to be enough. It's a good line though. Now you notice sometimes in the screen capture with black clubs and with the Mevo, for some weird reason at lower swing speeds, it doesn't always read the path. So, all right, well, looks like we've got a double bogey on that hole, so that's not a good start. Par 5, 481 yards. Okay. Now my sim room is a little on the smaller side, So I have to choke up on the driver a little bit, kind of removing a little bit of distance, but it's kind of a tight fit right about there. See if we can put a little draw on this. Well, certainly drew it. Not bad, still in play. Not a great shot, but not a terrible one for an old man. All right, so we have 233 yards to the green. I can probably get there with the hybrid. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that here. And okay, but if I'm a little short, it's not going to be the end of the world. Nope, that's 3-wood. Like that. All right, so the clubs that I'm playing with are it's basically a full Titleist set, TSR driver and woods. They're all the TSR 2, and I have T150 irons and T200 5-iron, 4-iron. All right, here we go. It's a good shot. It's going to be a little short. Didn't hit that super well, but that'll work. That's all I needed. So here's a good opportunity if I can get this close on my third shot to get a birdie and get some strokes taken off here. So we got 80 feet to go. And that is not going to be long enough. One of the things about chipping in a sim, especially if you're a field golfer, is it can be really difficult to judge the distance, especially when you have no frame of reference. But walked away with a par, so that's fine. All right, next shot. We've got par 4, 342 yards. Now there's a bit of a narrow spot up on the fairway. If I'm feeling good, I could potentially try to get a little bit further than that, but there's really not much of a reason. So I'm just going to hit a nice, easy 7-iron and just kind of do a nice layup shot. And that's a little behind the ball again, still rearing its ugly head. Probably be a 7-iron shot out on my second shot. Yeah, 196.7 yards. With the pin in the back, so I can probably roll it. So let's stick with the 7-iron. It's a little out of range for me usually with this club. And it won't be that time. Be the number. Oh, it's got to keep going. 19 feet. So let's see what the computer gives me. All right, birdie. Got lucky there. So that takes me to 1 over. All right, next hole, number 5. Again, we only have about 188. The fairway gets fairly narrow, so I'm going to lay it this time with a 6-iron. Hit pretty well. With the draw on it, that's going to work just fine. All right. Now only 200 yards remain. Let's see where the pin location is. So we got a pin in the back again, and just like we did before, I'm going to use just a club down, or actually this, yeah, about a club down. So normally from this range I'd be hitting probably a light 5, but since the pin's in the back, I'm going to be hitting a 6. And that might be too much. A little too much. I have not hit a 200-yard carry with a 6-iron in quite some time, so it's a little bit surprising. All right, so let's get this close. So we have 28 feet. So what I'm going to be doing is aiming about a foot or two, actually about a foot and a half above the base of the screen. Pushed a little right, but the distance was okay. Should still be good for a 1-putt. All right. Not too bad. So we're still 1 over. Coming into the famous number 6 at Bandon Dunes. Only 107 yards, so the flag pins in the front. So I'm going to be hitting a 54. These are Titleist Vokey SM9s, in case you were wondering. All right, 107 yards should be a fairly easy stroke. Pushed it a little right. And a little long. Hit put a little bit more on that than I hoped. One of the neat things about watching someone play in a sim as opposed to actually playing on the golf course is that the numbers don't lie. You'll actually see exactly the Ys of every single miss I have. So here we go, 31-foot chip. I'm using the 54 instead of the 60 here. We're going to see if we can't pull this left a little bit and then run her down. And that is way too much. I knew that the second I hit it. And I'm back on the fringe again, so I'm going to have to chip again. Probably should have stuck with the 60. All right, so only 21 feet this time, so we're going to try and land this about a foot off of the base. There we got the distance right. These things happen. Short game. All right, that should take us back to 2 over. All right, we have 334-yard par 4, dogleg right. With this, I'm going to see if I can't actually put a little bit of a cut on the driver. Just open up the face just a touch. Typically, I hit draws with the driver in most of my clubs. So to hit a fade, I have to put a little bit more extra effort into it. And there it is, fading a little bit. There we go. Not bad. Not a real hard strike, just getting it out in play. Yeah, I did manage to get the face open, 4.6 degrees. Okay, 78-yard shot. Let's use the 60. Now normally on the golf course, I don't use my 60 all that much, even at this range. Most of the time I will opt for my 54 for most of my approach shots. Narrow the stance up just a little. Stop. I really feel like that would have backed up a bit more on an actual green. I also sometimes wonder about the spin numbers. 5,700 RPMs, it just seems a bit low for a 60-degree wedge. All right, another par, stay at 2 over. So essentially we've got about the same shot here, but I'm going to take it a little easier. Just go ahead and hit the hybrid. There's not much reason to hit a driver here. And again, the bailout's more or less to the right, so I'm going to try and stay to the right, open up the face just a touch to fight my tendency to draw. And still managed to draw. Shot was a little fat, which is why it didn't go real far, and I've actually been on a bender of fatting my hybrid and 3-wood quite a bit lately, which is probably why you won't see the 3-wood coming out of the bag this round. Okay, 128 yards. This is a very good candidate for the 48-degree wedge. Green is only 3 feet above my feet. That should be about right. That was a good shot. Again, I feel like that would have backed up a bit. Traditionally, when playing on more receptive greens, like in the Pacific Northwest, you hit a ball with 7,400 RPMs and it's going to jump back pretty far. All right, took another stroke off, so it puts us back to 1 over. All right, so coming into the number 9, we've got par 5, 494 yards, not too bad. This hole is pretty interesting. It's that dead straight from where it's aimed right now is probably not the best place. You want to be the right or left of it, so I don't get too bashful about actually kind of swinging away a little bit on this one. Safest place was right in the middle of the fairway, right? Fell backwards a bit. But remember, I am not a pro. I am no Grant Horvat. All right. Wasn't the prettiest swing, but it sure worked. All right, not too bad. So now we are 259 yards out. There's no way I'm going to make that, even with my 3-wood. But I'm going to go ahead and hit it anyway in the hopes that I may actually connect with the ball first. So it's one thing, you can't be afraid to make mistakes. I know I said I'd leave it in the bag, but I am a glutton for punishment that way. Low stinger. Actually, that's not too shabby. Can't really complain about that one too much. I know I certainly wouldn't complain about it on the golf course. We should have a nice chip up and see if we can't get up and down for a birdie. All right, so we got 32 yards. This is a challenging yardage for Sims. Again, because if you're a field golfer like me, you tend to kind of judge just based on the look that you have. But when you're looking at a blank screen, you really don't have that sense of distance, even looking here. So we're going to do our best. And that is way too much. I'll be lucky to get a par out of that. Felt like I struck that pretty well, just open-faced it just a touch. Yeah, so We kept it par, so we're 1 over par at the turn. All right, short par 4, only 306 yards. Since the fairway is so big up near the green, I'm actually going to go ahead and hit my driver, even though I probably wouldn't out on the golf course. But since we're out goofing off today, you're in a nice warm sim when it's in the middle of winter, or tail end of winter here in Washington State, we're just going to go ahead and go for it. That is a bit of a push to the right, but that should be perfectly fine. All right, in the waste collection area. All right, but we only have 57 yards out, which this yardage I'm a little bit more comfortable with my 60. I know it's about a 90-degree by club. I know some people like to use their arm as an o'clock. I prefer to use the club. So let's see if we can get this right. That should not have ran that far, but still I hit it exactly how I wanted it to, so I am not disappointed with that in the slightest. And yeah, 52-yard carry, so that was about right. All right, good enough for an easy par. Okay, so this one, par 4, 331. Get the driver back out. All right, here we go. That was a much better swing. Felt a little more balanced that time, and to be perfectly honest, in this small sim space, I'm still not 100% comfortable swinging my driver in here, which I'm sure you can see from the video. The head of the driver gets precariously close to the wall right there. I'm still kind of getting over that, a little bit of anxiety, but I will say I swing my driver a little differently on the golf course. All right, 79 yards. So again, we're going to go with the 60. This will be about a 3/4 swing. Choke down on the club just a touch. So you're a little further back. I'm going to try and spin this if I can, but because you cannot hold the greens in E6. Get out. Way too much. I did not mean to hit that hard. But we're safely on. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I mustered a 79-mile-an-hour club speed right there, but the numbers don't lie. And that puts us back to 2 over. Still, it's not a bad round. I cannot complain. So we have 142 yards. This is kind of a weird number for me. My pitching wedge is normally my 150 or 155 club. However, my 48-degree wedge will only get me to about 135. So since the pin's in the front of the green, I'm going to err on the side of being a little long. I'm going to try and take a little off of this. If I can maintain about an 80-mile-an-hour club speed, that would be great. And that's going to be a bit left, but it should be fairly close for yardage. Yeah. Knew that the second I hit it. Just close the face a little bit. I did get close to that 80-mile-an-hour club speed though. All right. One nice thing also about when you're playing at golf, essentially in a video game or a sim, you don't get that feeling of terror when you're chipping over a bunker and you've got a very little landing area and it's going downhill at the flag. So we're now just going to focus on the distance 43 feet. Oh, and that actually hit the flag. That was dead on aim, just hit it too hard. Par 3s will kill you on E6. Oh, look at that. I got lucky. There is a little bit of chance. It's not just if you're within 10 feet or it's a 1 putt, or if it's 20 feet, it's a 2 putt. There is an element of chance out there. I actually have had instances where I got a 1 putt at 25 feet. It's very rare. It's probably on a scaling difficulty, or probability, I guess I should say. All right. Got a bit of a shorter par 5 here. It's only 460. Good opportunity to get on 2, since I've had a pretty good couple of opportunities to get there in 2 in the last 2 par 5s. So let's see how we go here. I'm going to try and just put a little cut on this if possible without pushing it. And that is not a cut. It's my usual shot shape, but thankfully it doesn't go very far. So, but when you're almost 50, that's about how far balls go. All right. So we got 207 out. The pin is kind of towards the front. And I'm going to hit a 6-iron because I really don't want to be long if I can help it. And if I can hit another 6-iron like I did on the front 9, it should be right there. That might actually be okay. Oh, I did not change the aim. So that was my mistake for not adjusting the aim. It was going after the post and not the green. If I had changed it, that would have been a little bit of a different story. I'd probably be a lot closer. That's okay though. All right, so we've got 69 feet, pretty uphill. So I'm going to open up the face here just a bit, see if we can't pop this up just a little higher. And that is not enough. I can only imagine. I've never played Bandon Dunes before, but I can imagine what that would have looked like actually standing and looking about the green right about here. Had that happen in a few other golf courses. So let's do a little bit better here. Let's get that here so the Mevo can see a little bit better. We only got 32 feet, which is about 3 times this distance here. I really thought that was the distance, but should be good enough for par. Okay. All right, so we're still 2 over, and into the 14th, dog leg right, 296-yard par 4. Now, you know what? For the heck of it, we're actually just going to kind of go for it, I think. There we go. I can't make the green. I mean, if I wasn't choking up on my driver and was really giving it the business, and I wasn't scared of hitting the wall, insert like more excuses here, I'd probably be able to get there. But in certain circumstances, I don't think it's going to happen. I absolutely did get it though. Pushed her a little, but that's okay. Another nice thing about playing in a sim versus playing on a real course, you hit it in a bunker, hit it in a waste area, it really doesn't penalize you all that much, unless you have trees or bushes in your way. That's a different ball game. All right, so we got 40 yards. I am going to have to fly it whole way there. I need to basically land it just about on the fringe. So 30 yards, 32 yards I think should be good. Still hard to be disappointed with that. I feel like I probably could have done better on an actual golf course when I could see what I'm doing. But still good enough for par. Okay, 123 yard, par 3. The green is about even with our feet here, so 48-degree wedge. But a nice easy stroke on it should be good. Pins right in the middle of the green. And hopefully, let's see if I don't pull this one left this time. That might actually be too much. It's a nice easy swing, that was good. But like I said, this club's about my 130 club, and that's about where that gets me. Now I really again feel like with 7,500 RPMs abouts of backspin, that would have jumped back considerably more, but still having the computer putt for me basically allows me to shoot scores I don't usually shoot on the golf course. I don't play this well on the golf course because putting continues to be my greatest issue. All right, 255 yard par 4. Now this one I can reach. So we're going to go ahead and put this right here. And let's see how this goes. I've never actually hit the green and kept it there in one, so let's see if we'll get it the first time this time. That actually could do it. Wow. Okay, that is the best shot I've ever had on this hole. If I hadn't had quite so much draw on that, that would have been just about right. Okay, so we're going to go 60-degree wedge here again. Mainly, again, I probably would not play this with a 60 on the golf course. I would either use my 54 or my 48, but the Mevo has an easier time picking up higher balls than lower balls, which is incidentally why I don't turn on putting, because it just simply won't read it. Well, that could have been better. So that was an instance of hitting to a very elevated green and not really being able to tell quite as much. So if it had been completely flat, I think that would have been a lot closer. So since we're still on the fringe, I have to chip it again. Let's see if we can get this a little bit closer. Talk about wasted opportunities here. That is going to be too far. Yep, right over the cup. That kind of hurts a little, but we're good for par. Okay, coming into the back stretch. Bandon Dunes really is a beautiful golf course. God, I'd love to play here someday. All right, so 300 yard par 4. Now, the fairway gets a little bit narrow past 200 yards, so I think I'm actually going to play the 6-iron again here. There's really no need to get greedy and have to hit out of the waist area. And that should be about right. Should always try to have that shot in the bag where the fairway finder, that just, you know that if you walk up to the ball and you have that bit of confidence where you just know that you're going to be able to pop it out there 200, 225, whatever that range is, and be able to get it in play. It takes a lot of stress off your game, especially when you're playing in a tournament. So here we've got 91 yards. Green is basically around our feet, a little 8 feet higher. So I'm actually taking the 60 out. I did double check. This is only going to be about a 95% swing, 90% swing. bit, but that should be okay. All right, and that should be good for a birdie. Let's take another stroke off. Let's see what we got. Yeah, all right, let's go. So last hole, we're 1 over. Let's see if we can actually finish this round even par, which I have never shot even par on Bandon Dunes before. I have shot 1 over in E6, but I have not shot even par, nor have I broke par. Now, I have broke par on other golf courses. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna have to put a little extra on this. If it goes a little left, it's okay, but I hope it doesn't because it just makes the hole longer. All right, so we're going not quite as far as I'd hoped, but that is going to at least get us a bit closer. So we got a pretty good chance of making this in 2. All right, so we have 220 yards out. This is a good yardage for a very easy hybrid shot. All right, nothing too fancy. Let's try not to put any kind of a draw on it. Let's just simply get it up in the air, get it onto the green. And that's a bit of a push toe-y thing I just hit. And that's golf for you. It just wouldn't be golf when you're playing well and all of a sudden you put it out of bounds. Now, thankfully, that's not classified as out of bounds here in this game, so we're going to be able to continue playing this. If I can at least get this popped up 50 yards. Actually, I better probably move this a little closer to the enclosure so I can open up the face and really get this thing high. Oh, that was the shot. Just pulled it a little. It's kind of hard to be disappointed with that, though. To be honest, I feel kind of glad that I was actually able to get that up and above the little cliff face there. All right, so 22 feet, just about twice this distance here. If I can land this on the base of the mat, that should be about right. And not quite, but it'll be good for a par, and that looks like I'll be finishing this round at 1 over. Oh, see, 2 putt at 7.6 feet. Not much you can do about that. So it looks like we're finishing at 2 over. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to leave a like if you liked it. And if this kind of content's working, then we're going to see if we can't keep going. And I've got tons of golf courses, and I might even start an instructional series. Thanks for watching.